Hello there and welcome back. This is episode 21 of my Minecraft 1.15 Let's Play. I'm here on my floating island and I've done quite a bit of work between episodes on this jaggy bottom down here. And you can see here that I've done the crevice here in between these all the way down to the scaffolding down here. And we've got some more wall that extends on over to here. And these go quite a bit down like there, and then that extends into this middle section here that I've gone all the way down to the bottom here. And let me tell you, this is easily the largest project I have ever undertaken in Minecraft. To think that just this section right here all the way down to there about and then all the way down to here took me several hours of work. There is a pattern to all this, but you don't want it to look patterned, so it's like this organized chaos. It requires quite a bit of thought to figure out where to place all the blocks, where to place all the spikes. You gotta keep checking and look it over. It's easy to underestimate how long this takes, but man, it is a huge project. But I am going to keep working on it. It will be very rewarding when it will be completed, which could be a while. But I've changed the scaffolding method I've got down here. I kind of ran out of glowstone. Well, I'm not out, but I'm running low on glowstone. And now that I've got the new Guardian farm, I've got quite a bit of sea lanterns. And I've also decided to put stone instead of just using solid sea lanterns. I should have done that a long time ago because I'm going to have to pull this all up a bit, Jilly. And I'm going to be cursing to myself when I have to remove all this glowstone because it's going to take a while. It's going to be a lot easier to remove it when it's got all this stone in between it. So hopefully that'll help. Now that I've created this nether portal above the nether roof, it's really nice to be able to get back and forth to the Guardian farm freely, but it's created a few other problems because I can't get back and forth to anywhere else through this, so I've got to use the lower nether portal still, and I've set up the nether portal here at the water level down here, but I have to fly down here because the water tunnel doesn't go all the way down here. Oh, and I've left it spawnable apparently. So there's a zombie just hanging out down here. And so I need to do that. And I need to set up some other portals up above the nether roof and do some work with the nether portals in general across the various stations. It might be a nice chance to go around and look at some of the things I've done in the past as well. I thought I'd take a page from the Hermitcraft book because I think they had a really interesting idea for a Nether Hub, and I think it would end up turning out pretty cool in my world as well. And it took me a while to figure out how to get a image dump of my world map. And I've got this program called Unmined. I'll put a link in the description. And it took me a while, even in this, to figure out how to get a proper picture because I tried taking a screenshot and it ended up being the wrong side. So instead what I did is I clicked on this little gear icon here, and then down here we've got this world export, and I put it into my desktop, and I did the max zoom of 1 to 8, this is what I want, is this 1 to 8, and I clicked generate, and it took a little while for it to generate. So this is the folder it created, and it creates this HTML page that you can browse and look at your map, which is fine, but not what I need. I had to go into the tiles and find the file that I wanted, and I went into zoom -3 because that's going to be my 8 to 1, and then it took me a second to find it, but if I go into -1, 0, it's actually fairly obvious because I know my world fairly well that right there is the image that I want. So I'll go into an image editor and pull that up. Alright, so here it is in the image editor, and I can zoom in here a little bit, and then we can clearly see the floating island here. Ooh, there's quite a bit of artifacts here. That's actually, I don't think it's going to matter that much. I think I haven't found a better way to find an image. There probably are better ways, but I've been doing quite a bit of looking, and I have not found it. So what I want, this is a 256 by 256 image, and I only want half of it. I want 128 by 256. So let's go ahead and let me type in these numbers into, I'm using GIMP, by the way. I love this program. And so I can type in 256 by 128. And I'm starting at 0, 0. This is what I want. So I can crop to selection. There it is. So this is what I want to make into my Nether Hub right here. Alright, so I put it into this Minecraft mural generator, and I picked the blocks, and maybe the artifacts do kind of matter because these shores look awful because it's picking stone instead of sand for all of them, and I think that's part of the artifacting. So let me see if I can go through the pictures in those files, and maybe I'll take the 1-to-1 magnification and piece together those chunks and see if I can come up with something better. All right, so it ended up being in the same folder within the zoom.0. It's just broken into many smaller files, which I was able to piece together into a larger high resolution image. So here's what the image looks like. It looks fantastic, and we'll see if that makes a better mural than the other one did. All right, I think this one came out a little bit better, so I can touch up the little bit of details and the shores and stuff like that once I've got it loaded into Creative. So I'm going to download this mural.zip, and I'm just going to put it in the data packs folder for a creative world, and then I can load it from there. I'm in a creative world that I have created, and I need to place 2 blocks here on the ground because for some reason it'll put it 1 block below my feet, and I want it to be on top of these sea lanterns. And then I've loaded the zip file into the data packs folder, and I can just type function, and then it's got this autocomplete here, so mural, and that loads it all up. And now I have been burned already because I loaded one that was the wrong size, and I spent several hours setting it all up, and it ended up being the wrong size. So I'm going to go into my survival world and check and make sure that everything fits properly. So I'm going to use a mod called Lightmodica. It's a follow-up to Schematica. It's a client-side mod, so it works on a survival vanilla server as long as the server doesn't have rules that specifically prohibit something like this. But it's not really cheating because you still have to place the blocks and everything like that. It just creates a schematic or a template that you can follow so you can see where you need to place all the blocks. There's no reasonable way to set up something like this in survival unless I'm using Schematica, Lightmodica in this case. So the menu button is the M button, and I'm going to go to Area Selection Browser and create a new selection, and I'll just call it Map. And I've got the stick as my tool, and so I can click on one corner and then go all the way over to the other corner, and I'll click on that with the right mouse button. That'll select the second corner, like so. So we've got the whole selection selected here, and then I can go back into my menu, Area Selection Browser, Configure. I'll save it, and as you see, I've already done this before. I'll call this one Map 256 Test, and save it, and we'll go into Survival and load this up. All right, I'm in Survival, and I'm over the nether roof. This is the portal to my main base right here. So go back into this, and I will load schematics. I'll load this one. And I might have to rotate it. I think I actually placed it the wrong way, but it's hard to tell. Let's fly over it and see what we're dealing with. Oh yeah, I definitely need to rotate it. So this way right here, this is my floating island. This should be north. So I'm not sure, what is that, counterclockwise? Like so? That should do it, and we'll take a look. I hope I didn't lose my portal. It's really hard to find my way around here. There's my portal right there. Okay. And that looks like it's right. So I need to move this section right here so that it's over that portal. And I do that with the stick tool here, and then I use Control and my mouse middle button to change the tool here from area selection to schematic placement, and then Alt and the mouse button, and it'll move it in the direction that I'm facing. And then I want to move it this way, and I got to find that portal. I'm not exactly sure where it went. Doesn't have to be perfect here, but I want to get it basically, actually this is going to be the dead center right here, is this brown blob. This would be my sorting center, this would be my tree farm, and this is the middle of the island right there. So, and then we're going to fly down here to this other portal and make sure that it's over. Yep, that's almost perfect. That's like exactly where we want that portal right there. And then I'm going to actually do a couple bit of double checking here. So somewhere over here we should have our witch farm. Should be fairly obvious. Okay, yeah, it's this diamond shape right here because the roof is all diamond shaped. So I might end up moving this portal, but let's just place a portal here and make sure that this syncs up with the witch farm. That's not high enough, is it? And what did I do? Did I just throw my pickaxe? Where'd my pickaxe go? And I want to make super duper sure that nothing's spawning up here. So let's put some carpet on top of these portals. I do not want gas in this area whatsoever. And got a flint and steel, and then hopefully this just sinks right up. I had to turn so we can go into the MP at the same time. in order to open this menu. It can turn the placement on or off. And it should sync up to... Alright, it syncs up to the bottom of my witch farm because this one's closer than that one. So let's actually disable that. And we'll come back and we'll set up another portal way down there or something like that. We'll figure that out in a little bit. But it should now sync to this one instead, which would be preferred. There's no reason to have to go up this water tube here. And there we go. And then hopefully it'll sync right back. There we go. Fantastic. Everything's working really well here. And so I want to do one other check. And that is, I guess we'll go, let's not lose sense of direction. There we go. It's kind of the point of this whole thing is not to lose sense of direction. Unfortunately, my zombie farm here, zombie pigment farm, is right over the thing. I thought it was far enough north, but we'll just deal with that. It shouldn't be a big problem. And then somewhere down here, this right here, this should be the wool farm. Now that's only going to sync to a lower portal. I'm not going to have an upper portal to go through. So I'm going to be stuck on the lower half of the nether, but we'll fix that too in a little bit. Or maybe we won't for this specific farm, and then let's make sure carpet on top. And I'm just making sure that, like the size of the thing is right so that everything's working out properly. And here we are at the wool farm. All right. Now that I'm sure that this is the right size, I'm going to do some manual cleanup. So we can start by going back to the area selection. If I just select that, it turns the selection off so I can see a little better. And then I'm going to clean up some of the randomness in all these blocks and everything like that so it looks a little bit cleaner and prettier. And I'm going to clean up some of these buildings. So I'm going to manually draw in the floating island, maybe make the guardian farm out of prismarine blocks, the other farms a little more obvious what they are, etc. And then when I'm all done, I'm going to replace all these blue wool with blue carpet so that there's some depth to all this. And it should look quite a bit nicer once I'm done. I think this turned out pretty well. The depth of the water definitely looks pretty cool. And I removed some of the smaller islands and some of the smaller lakes so that it's a little more dramatic. And I made the rivers contiguous so that they didn't break up with the land and stuff like that. And I cleaned up some of the details, and you can see here I drew in the floating island. I drew in little miniature versions of the buildings. I might add buildings to that in the future. And then there's the guardian farm there. There's the witch farm. The roof of that is just a big triangular stone slab, so I made that out of smooth stone blocks. And then we've got, the wool farm is just a white blob right now. I mean, I don't know what else to make that really look like anyways. And then actually we've got our squid farm is this little patch of water right here. You can actually see where I filled in the river, and actually it's fairly obvious if you look at it. And there's a few things that didn't fit on this map, and that's fine. The end portal is somewhere over that way, and I'll probably just do ice roads out to the places where these things don't fit. And then the flower farm is somewhere in this area. It's actually not far off this map, but not a big deal. And then the mob farm and my desert are 200 blocks in that direction. So again, I'll just do an ice road or something like that. But there's one more thing I need to do with this. I'm going to need to cover this in glass so that it's not spawnable. So I did some testing, and I think black stained glass is going to look the best. I did a few other tests, gray actually looks pretty good. But I think in the nether, the darkness of the black, there's going to be plenty of light from the sea lanterns are going to be under it. I don't know if I'm going to fill the whole thing underneath with sea lanterns, but I will fill at least a decent amount. Probably the whole shoreline will be sea lanterns. Let's go back into our selection here. And so let's remove the glass so we can see. So the selection should still be good. Yep, we can see the selection. And we can save that now. We'll save that as map 256. And one other thing we can do in here is we can analyze the area, and we can see a material list for everything that we're going to need. So this is going to take a while because this is a lot of materials, a lot of which I don't have. It'll actually tell you how many shulker boxes. So you can see this is almost 9 shulker boxes worth of blue carpet. So that's going to take some AFKing at the wool farm to get all that. And then there's a whole bunch of concrete powder, so it's going to take some gravel and sand. And then also, this is 32,000 blocks, so it's going to be 32,000 sand, which again is like 22 shulker boxes worth of sand. So going to have to do quite a bit of resource collection. This isn't something I'm going to get done in this episode. I just wanted to get started working on it, get the ideas out, and get some nether portals set up that are working properly. This is where we want to place it. Everything looks good. We got our wool farm down there. And then the witch farm over here. Yep, looks good there. We'll probably move that portal. And we're going to have to move all of these portals because they're a block too low. They're actually going to be like 2 blocks too low. Actually, we'll put them in the glass. But so let's move this up 1 block. Like so. So that's where we're really going to place it. And then, man, this is going to complicate things for a little bit. But we'll work around it. And then the last thing I want to come in here and remove this first one. Like so. And then we'll come into this one and we'll lock this one so we don't accidentally move it or anything like that. And then probably what I'm going to have to do is use glass steps or something like that. That's what I got on me. We'll set something up later. But we're going to move this portal up 2 blocks. Yeah, can we... So it should be right there. And we want the top of the portal on top of this block. So that's where it will go. So let's break this. And set up the new portal right now. Like so. Next, I want to fix the portals here on my island here. I'm going to set up a portal somewhere in the middle here. We'll put some decoration around that. We'll worry about that later. Right now, I want to actually set up the actual portal and the tube that goes down to the bottom here. You can see here, we've got 2 tubes, one for up and one for down. But if I'm going all the way down to the bottom, I really don't want to do that. I think just like having 1 tube that goes down through the dead center here, I think that'll probably look the best. We'll see how it works. And then I'm going to have to do some sort of, like what I did up here where I've got a button. Oh man, I can't fly. Where put a pressure plate here that swaps out this block for, well, it'll normally be magma, and it'll swap it out for the soul sand so I can go up. So let me see if I can figure out something, the mechanism for it. It's going to have a long timer, and it's going to have to be underwater, so I'll probably have to put a little cage or something. I'll see if I can figure something out for this. I set up the whole block swapper thing, and it's underneath the water, and I kind of hate it. So it works just fine. So if I step on that pressure plate, it switches to a soul sand, then it sends me up on my way, and it lasts long enough. It's still soul sand down there that I can get all the way up to the top. It actually lasts a little bit longer. I can't go down just yet. It takes a few seconds before I can. So that's all working fine. And then the thing that I hate, is that going down is so darn slow. This is much, much slower than just dropping into a water block. So I don't know if I want to keep this. This takes forever. This is just grueling. And so maybe what I'll do is make this platform a little smaller. Like, the platform doesn't need to be very big. And then put the drop a few blocks over and then just drop myself into the ocean. It's a little bit dangerous because I might hit one of the side blocks or something like that. For now, I'll probably leave this like this, and then we'll deal with the other portals. And I mean, this works, but yeah, I don't think I like it. Next, I want to set up the portals for the mob farm here. So we've already got this nice convenient water elevator. That's the way I got up and down before, but now I can set up another portal up there, and then I might come down for items. It's convenient to be able to use either portal if I wanted to. So I'll definitely keep the water elevator. At some point, I might want to move the items up there so that I can just come in, AFK, grab the items, and go without having to come back down. I'm not going to worry about that right now, but that is something to consider in the future. Depends on how much I need to use it. As it is, I tend to AFK it every once in a blue moon, and then just grab all the items and go. So it's definitely low on my priority list. So up here, I think I want to keep solid blocks away from the roof of this whole thing. Although I'm not sure. I think it changed and it doesn't matter anymore. I think solid blocks and glass blocks all count against the mob cap and how the spawn algorithm works. And so I have to have the glass blocks, so it might not matter. But just in case, we can still keep things out. And it should be on the chunk boundaries. And there's one block within this chunk. But that's not part of the farm. That's just part of the roof. So I don't think that one matters. So I think technically I could put another portal right here on these blocks right here. But I'm not sure if I want to do that. It might be a little bit disoriented when I get out of the portal and I'm not sure which way to go. But on the other hand, if I put one back here, I risk having to walk over this hole in the ground that would cost me 20-30 seconds if I need to go back up. But I think I'll take that chance. I can always move things later. Not a big deal. So let's go down a couple blocks. Give ourselves a little bit of a gap here, and that maybe make it a little less likely that I'll fall in the hole. It should be fairly obvious. And we'll set up a nether portal right here. Alright, so let's light it up and grab the coordinates here. And the other one's basically in the same spot, but I'm going to go down and grab those coordinates as well, just to make sure. And I want to make sure all these portals are synced up right so that they don't accidentally sink into each other or anything like that. So, geez. Of course they did. Alright, well, I got a little bit of cleanup to do. And let's grab this coordinates, and I'll clean up, and I'll go back into the nether and make sure everything's synced properly. That would be another benefit to moving these items up into the sky. I've done a lot of lighting in this area, but it's pretty easy to miss a spot. It's much easier to make sure that the controlled area way up there is spawn-proof than it is than this entire desert area right here. So, something to consider. Again, it'll take a while to set all that up, so I'm not in a hurry to do that right now. But something to consider. If this happens again in the future, it will probably make me prioritize this a little higher. So this portal right here that goes to my mob farm, that's at the end of this long tunnel that goes back to my base here, this is synced pretty much perfectly, so I must have placed this portal manually. So that's good. So now let's go up on top of the nether roof and set up the second portal. While we're at it, let's go ahead and this is my spawn portal right here. Let's go ahead and grab the coordinates for that portal on the overworld side and set up one above the nether roof. So in this area, the nether roof one is just gonna sink down to this one. I'm not gonna put a portal up in the sky because my flying island is 200, 300 blocks in that way. So I can always just go over there if I need to get up to the top of the nether roof. I'll just leave this as is. I never come here that often except for the iron farm over here. And, this is just an empty house basically at this point. Looks like my iron farm is full again. I need to do something about that. I never set up a proper storage system because I was going to set up all 5 modules here because I thought I needed it. Because the old way iron farms work, you needed a lot of iron farms in order to get a lot of iron. But I've been running this one and I've got 6, I think, double chests full of, 6 double chests full of blocks of iron. I've got more back at my base. I'm running into this one, and then the rest of these is full of iron like this. So at some point I need to come through and just set up a proper storage system and stop pretending I'm ever going to set up the rest of these. There's no point in them. I would never be able to use all those items. I don't even know how I'd store them if I can't even deal with what I've got. Alright, so here's where the spawn portal should go. It looks about right. We've got this river right here in front of us, so this is where my house would be. Maybe I'll draw a little brown blob or something like that. And this should probably mostly be grass, so maybe I'll clean that up when I actually build it. But no worries on that for right now. Let's just set up the portal. For now, I'm just going to put a big old arrow and sea lanterns that points down towards the mob farm. I don't have nearly the amount of ice required to set up an ice road. Ended up making a whole road of sea lantern arrows that point towards this portal here. That way, if I'm flying, I don't get disoriented and pointed the wrong direction. And this should sync up properly here. Oh, no, that's not great. It didn't sync up to that one. That went too high. So it looks like they're actually equidistant, which is kind of funny. So this portal is at 128, and then the one in the sky is at 191, and the one on the ground is at 64. So technically the one on the ground is 64 blocks away, and the one in the air is 63 blocks away. But it's obviously it's picking the ground one for some reason. I wonder if just raising this a couple blocks, maybe I can put it on a little platform and make it look nice. I don't know. We'll try that. Let's try that first before going to any more drastic measures. All right, so it looks like raising it 2 blocks worked. So that's funny that it was that close. So if I got an ice road here, it's going to be up 1 block anyways. So I can just like put like some sandstone stairs and make a nice little sandstone portal frame or something like that at some point in the future. But let me go back through and check the other portal down to the ground. Make sure everything's syncing properly. Yep, looks like everything's syncing up just fine here. So let's fly on back and go look at another farm here. So my slime farm here is a funny case in that I don't think I'm actually going to do anything with it right now. I'll probably wait and do something later. I don't know when I'll do anything with it. But we've got this tiny little platform. This is the AFK platform. It's nearly impossible to land on. It's so small. But, okay, there we go. So this is where I AFK'd, but I have only AFK'd here once. And let's go take a look at the nether side of this farm. So here are the items I still have left after a few hours of AFKing at the slime farm. I've used a couple stacks of slime blocks, probably even a few stacks. But I've had no reason to go back and AFK or anything like that. I mean, if I were going to AFK, then it'd definitely be nice to have another portal up on the nether roof to let me get straight to the AFK spot, but I just haven't had any need to. So down here we got the actual kill chamber, and then we've got an item elevator that brings the items on up. And at some point I need to set this up with wither roses, and maybe that's when I'll actually make a change to this farm, because right now I don't really have the, I guess I do kind of have the wither roses. But yeah, there's just not a lot of reason to make any change. I could just grab all these slime blocks out of here, put them in my storage system, and it'll be a while before I need to do anything with my slime farm. My witch farm here, on the other hand, I use this thing all the time. And I am scared to walk into this lower portal because I broke the lower portal on the other side of the witch farm. So this portal could just as easily sink me into my guardian farm over here. And I could end up stuck inside of the guardian chamber. And I don't want that to happen, so let's take the long way around. So I don't know if I technically need a lower down portal for this farm, but it could be useful from time to time. I have had times where I'm stuck in the overworld, and having a portal I can go to that gets me back to my base is kind of super useful, but it's a little bit weird here because this portal that we've got down there that we broke is actually over the roof of this thing, so we can't just drop it down further and put another portal there and use the same water column. Probably what I'll have to do is extend out this little tunnel past here a little bit and then drop a portal down way down there and then set up 2 water tunnels to go up and down. Nothing too complicated here, just a couple of really tall glass towers here, one with water, one with a water drop at the bottom. Portal down there, nothing too complicated at all. I'm going to set up something similar here at my guardian farm. I have to be a little bit careful though. I need to put a portal out far enough that it doesn't sync with either the portals down there or this portal for that matter. So I just flew down here and I landed too hard and I died. And I died on this water column here. As you can see, geez, I almost did it again. And some of the items probably went through the water. Oh man, I'm picking up tons of prismarine items. Oh man, oh that sucks. Like a lot of my items landed on this water column, and since they're not sorted, they went through and got spit into lava. And that includes several shulker boxes, the worst of which is a shulker box with obsidian in it. Maybe some of them is in the water. Let me look around and see if I can find everything. Geez, I just can't help myself, can I? But I think that's my shulker box full of obsidian right there. So I'm missing a few things, but that's definitely the most expensive. So it looks like I lost a couple pieces of armor. Those are pretty easily replaceable. I got a bunch more back at my base. And it looks like I lost my shovel. And I did lose a couple shulker boxes. I had a shulker box full of kelp, which it looks like is gone. I did find the shulker box full of obsidian. There's not a ton in here. It's actually a decent amount, but the way I go through it, it's not so much. I'm going to have to go get more soon enough, especially after setting up all these portals. But I'm glad I didn't lose it. I've got sea lanterns and black stained glass, and yeah, I think that's all I lost. But I had blue stained glass for setting all this up, and I lost a shulker box basically full of blue stained glass. So yeah, that's fun. I'll probably use some of that to cover up that water stream there, so that I don't have issues like this in the future. This seems to work here. If I made this portal right here any closer to this one, then I was having troubles where it was actually spitting some of the items out of this portal, which I definitely don't want. So I had to make it a decent distance down this way, and then it syncs up to a portal that's relatively close. But it's at the main level here, so we can see there's some guardians that are dying, and here's my old tunnel on down to there, and I just put a new portal up there, and there's the one that items are spit into right down there. Alright, I've set up the elevator and the drop here. It's a little bit messy, but it functions. And I've replaced my shulker box full of kelp. And there's one more portal I want to worry about here now. This one should be fairly easy because I never really go back through this portal, because this is the portal to my end portal. So I just need to grab these coordinates here, and then I can set up another portal up on top of the nether roof, and hopefully it syncs up fine without any issues. And then the fact that it's just a one-way portal shouldn't really matter, because every time I come here, I'm just going to jump into this end portal. I did the sea lantern arrows here again, going towards the nether portal, but it's at a bit of a weird angle here. These aren't perfect arrows. We'll fix that later. But here's the portal way out here. So 200 or so blocks in that direction. And hopefully everything syncs up properly. It obviously won't sync up on the way back, but yeah, okay. Working just fine. The one last thing we haven't covered is the squid farm here, and right now I'm not going to do anything about this. I don't have to AFK here for very long or very often. About an hour or two of AFK should fill up the 4 shulker box for the storage for this thing. So I could put a portal way up there, but there's just no point right now, so we'll just leave it be. I've placed down the floating island here in the Nether Hub, and I've started doing some of the coastline here in sea lanterns. I believe I mentioned before, I want the entire coastline to be made out of light blocks. So we see here, these are all light blocks as well. That way the light reaches as far along into the main islands as possible, so that this isn't to stop mobs or anything like that. It's just to make sure everything's nice and bright and inviting, and it doesn't get too dark in this area. And then in the main ocean, I think I'm going to do a pattern, something like this, where I'm not putting a sea lantern every block. That's kind of overkill. I know I have a really fast farm, but even then, it's just kind of a waste of blocks to fill the entire ocean with sea lanterns. So something like this keeps it nice and bright and keeps it from having any obvious light gradients. And then I would just come through and I would cover all of this with carpet. And I fill in this whole area here with all of that. There's going to be a whole bunch of that. But before I get too far along on this, I'm going to have to do quite a bit of resource collection. The first resource I'm going to need is shulker boxes. I'm basically running on fumes here. It took me about 30 shulker boxes to load up the Guardian farm, and that's for about an hour of AFK. And I'm going to need quite a bit more than that, and I need shulker boxes just in general for various storage and everything else I need. I'm going to need quite a bit. Oh, this is the wrong way. Still got to get used to the directionality of everything, so we should go this way. This gives me a chance to use out this new portal here. Shouldn't be too much further. There it is. Alright, so that's where I'm going to end the episode today. I'm going to head off into the end and do a shulker run between episodes, and I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks very much for watching. Have a good one.